Seth Rollins just looked the most dangerous offer in WWE right in the eye and walked away. Solo Sikoa came to Raw this past Monday with no music, no pyro, no warning. Just a proposition that could completely change the landscape of the World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. And Rollins? He said he'd think about it. Think about. Welcome back to Heel Turn Wrestling. This segment was one of the most psychologically loaded moments in the entire SummerSlam build, and we are breaking down every single layer of it right now. Let's set the scene. Monday Night Raw, Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. Seth Rollins is already heading into SummerSlam with the biggest match of his career, a one-on-one shot at Roman Reigns and the World Heavyweight Championship. On paper, it sounds clean. In reality, it is anything but, because Solo Sikoa showed up unannounced, walked straight to that ring and called Rollins out. Not for a fight, for a conversation. And the second Rollins came down that ramp and asked, "Are we talking or fighting?" You already knew this was going to be must-watch television. Here is what Solo said, and pay close attention to the logic because it is airtight. He told Rollins flat out, "You are not just fighting Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. You are fighting the entire bloodline. Jacob Fatu, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, the whole family." And Solo knows exactly how they operate because he spent years running that machine from the inside. He has seen firsthand what Roman does when the numbers are in his favor, and he has lived through what it looks like when they are not. So his offer was simple: let me watch your back. Let me be your shield. And then he hit Rollins with the callback that stopped the visionary cold. He reminded Seth that at WrestleMania XL, it was Rollins himself who took a chair shot to the spine so that Cody Rhodes could win his first championship. Solo said he wanted to do for Rollins what Rollins once did for Cody. And that is where this segment became something special. Because Rollins stood there and you could see it, he knew Solo was right. He admitted it. He said Solo made a lot of good points. But instead of shaking hands on the spot, he turned to leave and said he needed time to think it over. Solo grabbed him by the arm and said there is nothing to think about. And right on cue, Jacob Fatu's music hit and the Samoan werewolf came storming down the ramp. Solo slipped out through the crowd, and Rollins, standing alone in that ring, cracked Fatu with a super kick and walked away smiling. Standing tall, but standing alone. Now let's talk about why this refusal, or really this non-answer, is so much more interesting than a flat yes or no would have been. Seth Rollins is one of the smartest characters in all of professional wrestling. He does not make alliances out of desperation, and he does not trust easily. The history between Rollins and the entire bloodline family tree is complicated at best and catastrophic at worst. He has been on both sides of that war. He knows what it costs. So when Solo Sikoa, a man who has turned on people, been turned on himself, and operated in every shade of gray this business has to offer, shows up saying, "Trust me," Rollins has every reason in the world to pump the brakes. But here is the other side of that coin. The bloodline is heading into SummerSlam as a fully loaded unit. Jacob Fatu is a monster. Jimmy and Jey Uso are dangerous on their worst day and historically great on their best. Roman Reigns has spent years using the numbers game to retain championships he might not have been able to keep in a fair fight. Solo is not wrong. Going in alone is a massive risk. And Rollins has to know that. The smirk he left the ring with could mean a dozen different things, and that ambiguity is exactly what makes this appointment television heading into August. So what happens next? A few roads branch out from here. Road 1, Rollins says no completely, goes to SummerSlam alone, and we get a pure David versus Goliath story where the visionary has to survive the entire bloodline by himself. That is a hard path, but an emotionally rewarding one if he pulls it off. Road 2, Rollins eventually says yes, Solo becomes his insurance policy, and we get a SummerSlam main event with a powder keg of a wild card on the outside. And Road 3, the most dangerous road. Rollins says yes, Solo's allegiance turns out to be a trap, and Rollins gets sacrificed to bring Solo back into Roman's good graces. Because let's not forget, Roman Reigns approached Solo about rejoining the bloodline recently. If this is a long con, Rollins could be walking straight into it. After Raw went off the air, Solo made it clear publicly that his offer has not been withdrawn. He said Rollins will eventually realize he cannot do this alone, and that he expects the answer to change before SummerSlam arrives. That is the kind of quiet confidence that either means Solo genuinely wants to help, or he already knows how this ends because he wrote the script himself. Either way, the pressure is entirely on Seth Rollins right now. Here is my bottom line. This was not just a backstage segment or a contract signing or a talking point to fill time on Raw. This was a masterclass in wrestling storytelling. Two men with complicated histories, both operating in moral gray areas, and a decision that could define the SummerSlam main event before the match even starts. Seth Rollins refusing to give Solo a straight answer was the smartest thing he could have done, and the most suspenseful. Because now we are all watching, and we will be watching every single week until August 1st. That is the breakdown. Solo Sikoa's offer is still on the table, and Seth Rollins has not tipped his hand. Do you think Rollins should accept the help, or go into SummerSlam alone? Drop your take in the comments right now. I want to know where you stand. If this video got you thinking, smash that like button, subscribe to Heel Turn Wrestling so you are locked in for our full SummerSlam preview, and I will see you in the next one. Disclaimer.